Hello everybody, welcome back to the new channel. It is Links with Friends. It's July 2nd and we're doing business and security today because we did social on Monday, Tuesday, whatever. We did it before.
You were so close to being accurate.
Almost. One day I'll get it.
Well, if you don't, we're going to get rid of you and you're going to be in trouble because there are no jobs.
CareerBuilder and Monster, which once dominated online job boards, have filed for bankruptcy. Yeah, it do be like that.
I don't know anybody who uses those anymore. I think LinkedIn and then Indeed, I think, are the two that have kind of replaced them.
Even Indeed, like none of it. Like I'm surprised how much LinkedIn has subsumed everything, given how just unbridled evil they are. Like I struggle to describe. Like I can't communicate to you effectively how insanely bad for you participating in LinkedIn is, while also simultaneously helping you find a job.
Have you seen the subreddits like LinkedIn lunatics, where it's like people who take LinkedIn way too seriously?
Well, it becomes like every other social media, right?
Right, yeah.
You desperately need to signal how good
I'm successful, yeah.
But also that could be desperation, like, please, I need to eat.
Yeah, please hire me. I have bills.
Also, did you guys see that Airtable, they used to be like, we're going to help you build a table for doing things. And they're pivoting to AI. So apparently what they were doing before, it wasn't any good. And they're just like, we're going to use AI to help you do things with tables.
Well, Apple is going to help you do things to spend your money, whether you like it or not.
iPhone customers are upset by Apple Wallet ad pushing F1 movie. Yeah, I love some of the delicious comments from people. It's like, oh no, Apple.
Wow.
Wow, yeah. It's just, Apple's advertising to you. Also, there was an opt-out thing in Apple Wallet, but in the beta version of iOS, apparently there's no thing to opt out of offers. You have to opt out of all of the notices completely. But there was a toggle to opt out of offers.
Some people pointed out, and I hadn't thought about this in years. I remember people complaining about this back then, but like iTunes, I think they added like what album was it? A U2 album, yeah. And then like it was like you just got it whether you wanted it or not. And people were like, I didn't want this. I didn't ask for this.
We've also like as computer like working on computers, like we understand how computers work. There's so many people that have gotten to such a level of brain rot that they don't understand that if this wasn't a lockdown platform, Apple couldn't force it down your throat. It's like, I would like to use Apple's wallet program, but I would like it to work my way, or I would like to be able to modify it. If the environment weren't locked down to such an extent, only one person would have to figure out how to stop it, and then everyone could deploy that everywhere on their iPhones. And then like all of the great things about competition and capitalism and blah, blah, blah would actually be true. But because it's such a lockdown platform, it's like, no, you must only use Apple Wallet to do the Apple Wallet things, whether an alternative piece of software or...
Please enjoy this F1 movie that no one saw.
Yeah. It's a computer. It runs ones and zeros. I would like for my computer not to run those particular ones and zeros. Oh, no, sir. We can't do that. That is a crime against humanity.
Well, OpenAI's got some new ones and zeros. I think they looked at what everybody was doing with their product and they said, wait a minute, they're just reinventing everything with our product. Why don't we just do it without them?
OpenAI might be stealth building the ultimate Google Workspace and Office 365 replacement. Suddenly, the story that we had last week about OpenAI complaining about Microsoft and antitrust makes a lot more sense. Because what if Microsoft looked at this and said, hey, stop building something to compete with Office 365? If OpenAI has some documentation to that effect, wouldn't that sound like something that's anti-competitive?
Isn't it even more tangled, though, considering OpenAI gets money from them?
Well, we've got the next story, which is also really amazing, that ties in with that.
So the reason I added this story, actually, this is just a press release from Microsoft, but for those of you who are desperate, you now have 2 new avenues to keep Windows 10, and they're both insane.
Stay secure with Windows 11, Copilot PCs and Office 365 before support ends for Windows 10. But also, people really want ChatGPT. They don't want Copilot.
Oh, you're thinking of a different story.
Yeah.
So if you want to keep it until October 2026, you can pay your $60, but now you can also back up to Microsoft's backup system, which will automatically grant you, and that's free. Yeah.
There's a bit of a monkey's paw situation with that.
Or
Bingo.
Or you can trade 1,000 Xbox rewards points, which I think I might actually have from Game Pass because I've never used them. Both things require that you marry it to an online account. So those of you who are still on offline Windows 10 accounts, you must marry in order to get any of these features.
Oh, do we have the Steam story about Steam integration with Xbox and Game Pass and the thing Microsoft showed? It looked unhinged in the best possible way.
Oh, you mean where the Game Pass is going to start letting you run the Steam games?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know
No. My favorite meme from that, you know the Thor movie where like they destroy Asgard and it's like, you can't defeat me, and it's like, oh, I know I can't, but he can. That meme, and it was Microsoft talking to Sony, and so like Microsoft saying to Sony, it's like, you know, I know I can't defeat you, but he can, and it's Steam wrecking Asgard in the background. It's a great meme.
And Amazon has made a promise that I don't believe.
I also don't believe. As someone who is a rural customer,
yeah.
I don't believe this.
I mean, they're doing better, I'll admit, but I don't believe this at all.
The company is bringing faster delivery to thousands of small towns and rural communities, at least until those rural farmers show you how good they are at skeet shooting.
So they're saying same day.
I don't believe that. Not even a little.
This is only for certain products. So they're using machine learning to automatically shuffle those products near you because they know that somebody's going to buy it, which is terrifying, but true. They know us better than we know ourselves. And this is, I don't know if this is apples and oranges comparison, but it's good to see because Windows 11 is probably not what you want in a lot of cases.
Games run faster on SteamOS than Windows 11, Ars Technica finds. Yes. When Zen 5 launched last year, we pointed that out, and the gap has only gotten wider since then. Linux, for the games that run well on Linux, which is not all of them, Linux can be significantly faster.
Now, they had some different drivers here. They actually used the Asus drivers for their thing instead of the Lenovo one in some cases because they were better, but still Windows didn't always win. Now, that hardware is literally like designed to run that stuff, but still. Good job, Gabe.
Oh.
I was hoping the Microsoft Steam thing is a high watermark or a line in the sand or something for Microsoft saying, yes, we have to do better for gamers, and we are willing to work with Steam. Like you look at it and it's like Microsoft's Windows integration with Steam should have been good long before now. And the reason it wasn't is because Microsoft wanted to supplant and displace Steam. And Steam has, up till now, not been inherently evil. So they've done as well as they have. So is this a concession by Microsoft to just say, okay, please don't destroy Windows. We'll try not to suck.
Well, I think it's also got a lot to do with what we'll talk about in the beginning of the hardware section, which is the Xbox team.
Yeah.
I'll be getting smaller.
So it has been 0 days.
Yeah.
Next story.
Here's the thing about 2025, right? The most important thing is attention. The second most important thing is being right on the internet. Everything else must be sacrificed for those two things.
Restricted data once again leaked on War Thunder forums.
Woo!
This was a jet, I think, right?
Yeah.
I really want
American made, I think.
I really want a copy of like modern intelligence and counterintelligence manuals, because when those are declassified in like 20 years, it's going to be amazing. It's like, as a field operative, if you're interested in gathering classified data about next generation warfighter stuff, just post on enthusiast forums something that's blatantly wrong, and then mine the answers for things that are real.
So this was the Harrier jet. That's the one. That was the first one that had the VTOL, but on an old school jet. Yeah. So somebody had a copy of that. Now they point out that this was not like top secret. It was not even classified. It was there was some phrase they put on it. It meant that you're not supposed to read it outside the government, but everybody had it. Like if you wanted to read about the Harrier, it was out there on the internet. But War Thunder is so gun shy about this that they have no tolerance for it.
It's so funny, though. Every time I see one of these headlines, I crack up. It's been 0 days.
And it's also been 0 days since we had some Roblox terrorism.
Ginger ISIS member Roblox terrorist plans thwarted by the FBI in Texas.
I love how they're wearing the headgear.
What is happening? like in these screenshots.
They're
Look-
planning terrorism.
Look
is
at
what's
this
happening.
terrorist screenshot, and then it's just like a little smiling Lego man.
This was some kind of like music festival they were planning an attack on.
Yeah, Christian music festival. This guy wanted to attack it.
This guy.
So they got him, and they locked him up. He admitted to it.
I mean, yeah. I don't know how to feel.
Depressed,
Yeah.
scared for the future. And VMware. Oh my God,
We
VMware.
get stories every week.
It's insane what they're doing, but it's working. That's the darkest part. It's working.
Broadcom's answer to VMware pricing outrage. You're using it wrong. So this there's some more complaints here about people that are using it, and it's like, no, you should let us audit it, because if you really think that your pricing has gone up that much, you're probably not using it correctly.
But also the bundling. So a lot of people didn't use all the products, and they were like, hey, I don't want the bundle. I just need this one thing. And they're like, no. You definitely need the bundle. Let's re-educate you. We'll do that for a small fee. And some people, oh no.
Oh, bad sort.
Oh. Later on, we'll talk more about VMware. But this is almost as bad because Google, this is the future, folks. They got to train. You got to train the data. Where are you going to get it from? Anywhere you can.
Google to Gemini users. We're going to look at your text messages, whether you like it or not.
So they sent out this little warning right here. And the red blinking words in there, whether you're using it or not, whether it's enabled or not, it's going to be looking.
I hate that. That makes me so angry.
It's terrible. And Comcast, it seems, is finally feeling a little bit of competition. Isn't that interesting that what they do when there's alternatives?
Comcast's new plan dumped the data caps because most people that have the choice of subscribing to Comcast don't. And when Comcast started digging into why, it's because, well, the pricing's kind of unpredictable. And also, we don't want to pay extra when we download more than 2 games a month.
$30 extra. So that was the 1.2 terabytes. And it's gone now. If you switch to a new plan, if you keep your existing plan and you just don't do anything, you keep the cap. Congratulations. Oh, look at this.
There it
I
is.
missorted it by 2. But yes, VMware, if you are one of those people who says, no, I don't want to upgrade, I just want to keep the old stuff that I've got, and then you eventually are like, you know what? No, I don't want you anymore. Well, their terms of service has some really nasty stuff in it.
VMware perpetual license holder receives an audit letter from Broadcom that says, we want to audit your stuff to make sure that you're not using a newer version than you paid for. And that includes security updates that are not critical or worse.
And the number of licenses that you might be using. So they talked to some engineers at this company who anonymously said, yeah, we're pretty sure that a certain percentage of us are getting fired because there's no money for this audit. Like, we have to pay for this, or the company does. And we might not be in compliance, which might destroy the company entirely. I guess some of that is on them, to be fair. Oh, and poor Intel.
But other customers are noticing.
Poor Intel. They are looking for anything to cut at this point.
Intel will shut down its automotive business and lay off most of the department's employees, according to this article.
Now, I don't want an Intel car, do you?
No.
Well, it was technologies. Like, remember, it was like the self-driving. They demoed a convincing demo of a fully self-driving delivery van in Taipei like 3 years ago.
Yeah, so did that guy that had the semi-trucks. That was fake. That went to prison. And here's the thing about Intel is that they just simply are not competitive anymore. It happened fast, and it happened comprehensively.
AMD Ryzen CPUs continue to crush Intel processors on Amazon bestseller list. Only 3-core Ultra 200 CPUs occupy the top 100 list. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Although I was at Micro Center a couple of days ago, and they had the Core Ultra 7 on sale for $230. That is a thumping good deal.
This is only Amazon, though.
This is the Core Ultra 9 was like $550, and if you can get the Core Ultra 7 for $220, you'd be crazy to buy the Core Ultra 9 for $500. That's just insane. How's your machine doing? You're on a 16 core AMD now, right?
Yeah, that's good. A couple of blue screens, but otherwise it's been great. And that might be the GPU issues. And Microsoft, yes, they are doing interesting things. They're opening up the Xbox platform. They're letting others in, and maybe they've decided to not focus on that as much.
Microsoft planning major Xbox layoffs next week. So they just launched some games that are successful. I was noticing in the game dev community that the game devs are really salty because it's like, what do you mean you're laying us off? Our game is successful. You don't have any reason to lay us off. And it's because it's the lull after publishing a bunch of games. Microsoft's like, we can just rehire people if we need them.
They're probably doing it next week as well because it's like holiday week, right? They probably didn't intend for this to leak.
Enjoy your barbecue.
Well, they're just thinking like, oh, everyone's going to be busy, so it won't look as bad, but...
And I guess all of you out there playing your Switch 2s, congratulations.
Look what you've done.
You've ruined everything. And you've rewarded them not just for being monsters, but also for selling you something that's literally worse than the one you had before.
The Switch 2's super sluggish LCD screen is 10 times slower than a typical gaming monitor and 100 times slower than an OLED panel, according to independent testing. It's so slow that it's not going to be capable of 60 FPS without some kind of an update to resolve the issue if it's not a hardware issue.
And slower than the Switch 1 IPS.
Which is...
Now, a lot of people have pointed out that eventually they came out with the Switch 1 OLED version, which solved all those problems. So could this just be baking in the next upgrade? The next FOMO?
Absolutely. They got to make money.
I wish that the copyright law were such that we could do fanfic versions of games. It's like, here is my Metroid game in the Metroid universe that is entirely fanfic.
I mean,
Just call it something else.
yeah, I mean, you could.
People do that with Warhammer all the time.
Metroidvania or Metrovania. Is that what it's? I don't know.
Well, we've seen several attempts to revive some old nuclear power plants because now the data centers must feed. But New York is number one when it comes to actual new ones.
New York to build one of the first U.S. nuclear power plants in a generation. This was sort of fun reading this story. Yeah, New York State, not city.
They'd have a tough time finding a spot for it.
Yeah.
In the city.
I used to know an old real estate guy in New York City, and I don't know if it was him, like somebody he knew, but like from where they were doing the nuclear work, like there are buildings in certain places in New York that are super fun sites, and it's just like this building is always going to be unoccupied because we cannot disturb the radioactive dust.
And they are trying to change laws too, because there's a lot of laws that were put in by both the regulatory capture of the fossil industry and the green energy. But now they're like, oh, we shouldn't have let them do that because now we want nuclear. Look what we've done. And look what we've done to the ocean because I don't know. I think I didn't add this story. I saw it a lot, but I never, for some reason, never put it in the news. But yeah, it's over now, and it is wrapped up in the worst possible way.
EV carrying ship sinks in the Pacific Ocean after catching fire.
Also, what a paywall alternative. Transport topics.
So this is a transport ship. It was carrying 3,000 cars. Now of that 3,000, only about 300 were EVs, and of that 300, only like 8 or 10 caught on fire. Like really, one caught on fire and set some adjacent cars on fire. And they abandoned ship. And they were tugging the ship, and then something happened, and there were storms, and it started taking on water. There was no one on the ship to deal with the fact that the ship was taking on water. So it sank 300 miles off the coast with 3,000 cars on it.
And it's still full of fuel.
Yeah. Well, I know now it's diluted, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, now the sea life is enjoying that.
Yeah, great. Again, that company should be responsible for that. But will they be?
But if one car can poison an entire shipping container, what do we do?
Everything in like a 3-mile radius around it is probably dead. It was on its way to Mexico, and they think that we actually don't know which EV car brand was responsible. I think if we do, engage below, comments, whatever. But we think it was a Chinese brand, maybe.
Is it like Amazon where it's like just nonsense, and then it's gonna like they go to try to find it, it's just gone?
The article suggested it was Chinese EVs that were on their way to Mexico, but I don't know if that's really true.
Yeah, we'll probably never solve that mystery. You know what we need? We need a privately owned submarine to go down there.
Maybe Jeff Bezos can get in there. Suss that out for us. Musk, maybe.
Musk has a history of submarines, so Maybe he could do it, but right now he is a little busy with something else.
Tesla's robotaxi peppered with driving mistakes in Tesla tests. There are some amazing videos on YouTube you should go check out. And it was a very limited and controlled route that they had chosen for their robotaxi service.
Sunny, flat, like well-mapped area in an urban center, like.
And there's still dozens of videos from terrified passengers. It did okay, but the places where it didn't do okay, it astonishingly was not okay. Like shockingly
like
not
driving
okay.
the wrong way in the other lane, briefly.
We all knew what it was going to be. And people were looking for it. They were goal-seeking for it, but I don't think they had to look that hard. Because we know that technology is not perfect.
I mean, if Waymo is showing you up on the self-driving thing, and you were there like 5 years ahead of everybody else, you really got to question your life choices, right?
I don't think he has ever done that.
When he starts to, he just takes another hit and goes on Twitter to rant.
And yes, his car sales are not doing well. And overseas, it is really, really bad because they have access to those Chinese brands that are destroying shipping tankers.
Tesla's European car sales nosedives for fifth month as customers switch to Chinese EVs. You guys remember that truck that's like 12 grand or 15 grand or whatever? I know somebody that tried to import one of those and they said it was impossible.
Yeah. Which is ridiculous because our car companies are having to start shutdowns now. Like,
Yeah.
no one wants a $100,000 pickup truck. We want a $12,000 pickup truck that's smaller and doesn't have any of the features that we don't care about.
I literally just need something to occasionally haul soil to my house.
Yeah, he was going on about how the bed can't, like, it doesn't come with sides in the bed, like that's an extra that you pay like $200 for, $300 for, or whatever. But it does come with ratchet straps. And so he's like, this is great because like if I want to haul a piece of lumber or bags of soil or whatever, I can just ratchet strap it down, and that's way safer anyway.
Well, maybe if we all get together and we nag the government while they're driving us to football practice, maybe then we can get the $12,000 trucks.
Apple pulls the convince your parents to get you a Mac ad from YouTube.
I actually tried to find it because I was like, someone has uploaded it. I didn't try super hard, but like trying to find it on YouTube again, I couldn't find it.
No, you have to go to the college student page on apple.com. And it's at the very bottom.
Probably self-hosted. It's not
Yeah,
up on YouTube
I
anymore.
guess, yeah.
But I figured someone would have been like, oh, screw them. I'm going to re-upload it. But it's not there.
I remember there used to be a fast food place that on the marquee they would often put like scream till mommy stops or something like that. Maybe it was ice cream. I can't remember. But yeah, this was literally, they're like, hey, if you're a college student, here's how you have to nag your parents to get you this ridiculously overpriced laptop. I know they could get you a functional one at a half the price, but no, here's how to make the case.
Ask your parents to go even deeper in debt so that you
Buy
can,
now, pay later.
Yeah. It'll raise your credit score. It's a good thing, actually.
And the Trump phone, we learned some things about the Trump phone, and now it seems that many of those things have been revised.
The Verge's headline is the Trump phone no longer promises it's made in America. It's made with American values in mind, which is decidedly different.
Which means nothing. It also does not have the amount of RAM they promised. We're not sure about the display anymore. They said it was going to be a really nice OLED display. Maybe not. A lot of things about this phone we're not sure about anymore.
It seems like a weird bait and switch. Is this an allegory for our current administration? I don't know. I still feel the bait and switch over candidate Obama promising, like, we see the NSA doing really horrible things with their digital freedoms, and we must not submit to building this panopticon of surveillance against all human, all United States citizens, and more importantly, humans on Earth. And not only did none of that come to pass, it was put in acceleration mode, which is how we got to where we are now.
Well, that's been every president during our lifetime. It's not unique.
It makes me sad, though.
Well, maybe this will make you happy because at a very extreme efficiency hit, you can now broadcast your power.
DARPA smashes wireless power record, beaming energy more than 5 miles away, and uses it to make popcorn, in a not thinly veiled reference to the movie Real Genius.
So this is actually just shooting a laser at cleverly arranged solar panels. 20% efficiency.
Cleverly arranged solar panels in a window of a house.
So, yeah, that's nice, I guess. Maybe if we can get them up there in the, far enough that it can hit us from satellites. Asimov has a story about that too.
Is this the Department of Defense trying to tell us that if we put some sort of radio speaker in, one of the president's fillings, we can have some normalcy again?
That man's teeth are too perfect and great. Haven't
you seen him on the trading cards? Everyone says it. They're the best.
And it wasn't just Anthropic that had a big win over the copyright holders. Meta has also beaten them, interestingly, with a much worse case.
Meta beats authors' copyright suit on AI training over books. It's fair use. It's fine. It's transformative. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, now this was the one where the judge was like, yeah, the copyright holders just did such a terrible job. Their lawyers are total failures. I'm not saying that this is the right or wrong thing to do. I'm saying you suck, basically, is what I'm ruling here.
He did kind of suggest that they should have just said that they didn't acquire the books legally to begin with, and that should have been the end of the argument.
And Meta has decided to move to Louisiana. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, hey, if I wanted to build a data center, I would pick someplace that's incredibly hot and humid.
And also prone to hurricanes.
And floods. But that's what they did, and they picked a very small, tiny little town, which is probably not going to go well.
Black hole of energy use. Meta's massive AI data center is stressing out a Louisiana community. I looked at this, and it was much, much larger than I expected that it was. Good Lord, it is enormous.
It's he overlaid it with Manhattan. And the purple part is the data center. Look at that.
I mean, Meta has been space and power constrained for a long time.
So this isn't just a data center. It also comes with 2 gas-fired power plants in order to run it.
I'm sure that'll do great things for that community.
You think there's any voodoo going on right now?
I don't know what part of it was it northern Louisiana or southern Louisiana?
Well, it was in the swamps, right? Is that more southern, I would
I
think?
think that's southern, yeah.
I wonder if they're planning on using the swamp water as part of the cooling solution. That would be interesting.
Those poor crocodiles.
Well, they point out that
the cypresses.
might be some critters that would have their housing threatened by the whole facility. They should have to do a little reptile enclosure. To,
inside. When you're in the entrance, it's like an aquarium.
We didn't have to build a raised floor data center, but we did so that there would be a habitat for the existing creatures.
Yeah, when you bring up the floor to replace something, you're going to get a snake out of there every time.
Those have been trained to run the cables for us. It's genius.
And, yes, the House of Lawmakers, House of Representatives, have been banned.
WhatsApp is banned on House staffers' devices, and they got a memo that said, hey, don't download this, and if it is on your device, you're going to be contacted to remove it. So apparently this is a new policy.
Which is fun because just last week, Iran banned WhatsApp. Nobody trusts them. WhatsApp responded and they were very upset by this.
I would like to know if Signal is banned.
And Threads has had a terrible, terrible mistake, which a lot of people immediately noticed, which is weird because it sounds like business as usual to me.
The glitch is turning Threads into a literal echo chamber because it's repeating the messages over and over again, attributing them to the wrong person and just sort of duplicating it.
Some intern, man, their stomach dropped.
Yeah. That's not even a problem with the data. That's just rendering the wrong thing over and over. Somebody didn't iterate forward.
Oops.
In one of their loops. And WhatsApp has, of course, added AI.
WhatsApp now summarizes your unread messages using AI, and it's going to go as hilariously wrong as it did when Apple rolled out Apple Intelligence.
God, what a terrible thing. If you let your messages stack up, you don't read them in time. That's when it'll do that. I think you do have to click to ask it to.
For now.
And bad news to you young folks who are trying to become influencers at an early age. I know you have to get started early. You have to sacrifice your entire youth and adulthood to this whole thing, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer.
YouTube will increase the minimum age for live streaming to 16.
Now you can, as an under 16, you can live stream, but a parent must be in the frame at all times.
They're not going to enforce that.
Not at all.
Not even a little bit.
I wonder if we'll get like a dual cam stream where it's like, here's living room cam with my mom in the corner.
Well, you know what? I take it back. They will enforce that. when some young person points out something really embarrassing about like the government or Google or something like that.
And then the parents will be sent to jail for having not been there to yell at their child.
Speaking of that, have you like PewDiePie is going full war on Google? It's really interesting. He's fallen out of the top 10, but Linux user now. It's full Arch and Graphene OS on his phone. It's like it's really interesting.
People are getting tired of it. But we have a whole nother section of stuff to get tired of on Friday, and that is AI and nonsense sections. So we will see you then.
We have a lot of uplifting and delightful nonsense. Well, I use the usual terrible nonsense, but a lot of uplifting and terrible, delightful nonsense. Thank you for joining us.